Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This is our first Upanishad class for this course. Yeah. And so, in a sense, we always start at the beginning, correct? Where else can we start? It is always a beginning, because in more ways than one, because the flow of knowledge is continuous. And so, wherever you pick up, in a sense, it is a beginning. And so, we have an Upanishad to study. The word itself will take some time to understand, explain. And the meaning of the word Upanishad is really you. That's what it is. And it's a Sanskrit word. Upani prefixes, and then the root verb is shad, shadl, but shad for practical purposes. And like I said in the Sanskrit introduction yesterday, that every root verb has certain meanings already associated with it, arbitrarily assigned to it. And the root verb shad is no exception. It has three meanings: Visharana, Gati, Avasadanam. Visharati means dissipates. So the root verb itself is that which dissipates. Dissipates in the sense of dissipation. And then avasadanam, avasadayati means unmulayati. What is unmulayati? Avasadayati. Uproots. Uproots means without a trace, gone. It goes away without a trace. Not like, what is that? You spray something to make the weeds stop coming. Correct? Yeah. What is it called? Ground up?
That's one thing.
Ground up.
Round.
Oh, round up. Yeah. Ground up is the name of the weed itself. Yeah. Yeah. Grassroots. Yeah. The problem is in our perception. The weed is not thinking, aham veedosmi. I am a weed. Oh, how lowly my life is. Next time, oh garden Bhagavan, whoever you are, make me into a daisy. It's not saying that. You think it's a weed. The weed doesn't have any complex that I am a weed. It doesn't have any problem at all. The dandelion thinks my life is there to propagate. Go forth and multiply. It takes the words of the Bible seriously. The dandelion. And the whole flower is just seeds. And thanks to the help of the help of the wind, the seeds, what happens? Just, or become all pervasive. So then you have this war with this poor dandelion. Turns out it's good for the liver also. Not many people know that. But there is from the landscape artist's point of view, the dandelion is a sight for sore eyes and wants it out. How to do the avasadhanam, the landscape artist is thinking. And so, what is that? Yeah, something you spray. You try to round it up, and then after that, it prevails. 3 months later, its descendants greet you as soon as you leave the front door. The descendants are also, they are not upset. You killed my great granddaddy. It's not, they are not saying that. They are there and they are greeting you. Lots of descendants. And so therefore the root verb shad here, visharati would have been enough. Means that which makes it go away, like round up. Round up also makes it go away. No, avasadayati, unmulayati, that which uproots. So when you take it out from the root, there is no chance for it to come back. Correct? So that is the second meaning of the word shad here. But what is it eliminating, dissipating? What is it uprooting? And the third, we'll come back to that. Let's see the third meaning. Gamayati. Visharana avasadana gatyarthe. So gatihi means going, gamanam. So first it dissipates, destroys without a trace, and then gamayati, causal, takes you somewhere. Where does it take me? What does it destroy? What does it uproot? Very wonderful and very pertinent questions. And those questions are what the Upanishad here, the subject matter, that is what it reveals. Where does it go? Who is taking who where? And what is being destroyed? And what, more importantly, what is being uprooted without a trace? So that is the word shad. We'll come back to all this. Then the word shad has two prefixes. You know the word prefix, right? Yeah, the word pre in the word prefix is a prefix. So upa and ni are prefixes. Upa, samipe. Whenever you use upa, it means near. Like the word for glasses, upanetram. Correct? Yeah. Meaning what? Close to the eyes. Yeah. It could be contacts, closest in the sense, or it could be, sitting on the nose, close to the eyes. Upanetram. So upa means samipe, near. And the word ni, nishchayena, definitely. Now even more intriguing. What does it destroy? What does it dissipate? Where does it take? And what is near? And what is definitely? This is a very interesting thing. So since the meaning of the word Upanishad, I said the purport and the meaning of the word Upanishad is you. That is how we began this talk. It is you. It is me. Yes, it's all about you. In fact, it's the most authentic autobiography of the self, the Upanishad. All other autobiographies are written, they are lies. They're full of lies. And they all, unfortunately, read alike. They read very similarly. I'm no good, I'm an idiot, I'm sad, mad, bad, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have enough. I need some more things to make me complete. I'm incomplete. I'm riddled by fear. I'm riddled by sorrow. These are the autobiographies of the self, written by all the jivas. Yes, especially when they enter into the human incarnation. One is a weed, one is not a problem. And so, the word Upanishad and its subject matter are very potent and powerful interruptions to the false autobiographies of the I, and they replace it with an authentic autobiography. Now one may ask, and very, pertinently, one may ask, how is this for, so many selves are there? There are 7 billion people on the earth. How can you say that there can just be one autobiography for all of the people? How is that even possible? How is that, how is that understood? How is that possible? Because the problems are all one and the same. You go anywhere, the same set of problems are there in connection with the I. The words not enough, the words incomplete, the words need a little more to be all right, not okay, not enough confidence, not enough hard work, not enough. And then what? I want. These are the general complaints. And if the complaints and if the false autobiographies are the same, in fact it's just one autobiography, then the authentic autobiography also has to be just one. Because at that level the correction is just, at the very general level. It's not interested. The Upanishad, in correcting these perceptions, is not interested in your specific little life. The things that are the part of Facebook updates and tweets. This is what people tweet about. Every minute of the day they keep, churning out something. I did this, I had that, I made this, I ate this. That's not the subject matter of the, that is not the subject matter of the Upanishad. The Upanishad has has a completely different purport. It's not interested in the small differences. It's looking at the ultimate, that which really matters, and it seeks to correct those false autobiographies. And here we can say, born of subjectivity. So in other words, what is the word? The word Upanishad and the subject matter of the Upanishad itself, what does it do? It corrects, it attempts to correct very successfully my subjective vision. That's what it is. And what is the meaning of the word subjective vision? Subjective vision in Sanskrit is called mithya within mithya. Pratibhasikam, that is the technical word. My own subjective vision. And it is actually much more rampant than we think. Even in one's own life, if we examine the life, we immediately see that there are two categories of things. One is, it is there, and because it is there, I see it. Right? It is there. I can't sort of deny that it is there. I see the stump of a tree, and if I say there is no stump of a tree and keep walking, what will happen? Yeah, you will have to go to critical care. Yeah, that's what will happen. You cannot say that. And similarly in India, if you're driving and you say there are no potholes, there are no potholes. Potholes, what potholes? Mithya potholes. Then after that you will have to make a mithya phone call to a mithya chiropractor, and then go sit on the, lie down on the mithya table and get some mithya bones, mithyaically fixed. That's what it is. You can't, it is there and therefore I see it. It is there, it is there. Yes. And that includes all the objects in this universe called the Jagat. So many things are there, it is there, it is there, it is there. I have no, I have no choice but to accept that it is there and to interact with it, whether I want it or not. Sometimes I have to interact with things and people and situations. This is also mithya. More about that later. Let's not get confused right on the first class itself. We'll leave the confusion for the later classes. So this is also called mithya. From the standpoint of Vedanta, this is also called as a reality that is a dependent reality. More about that later. Now coming to the topic at hand, that's the first category of things that I encounter. It is there and therefore I see it. Right? And what is the second category of things? I see it because it is therefore it is there. This is called tasmat psychology, kind of a therefore logic. I see it, therefore it must be there. Like what? A frown on somebody's face. I go to see my friend, and my friend has a frown. I meet a frowning friend, and immediately what happens? The smiling friend has now become what? Frowning friend? Scowling friend? And immediately what happens? There is a big riot of thoughts in the head. What happened? What did I do wrong? Immediately the thing is, we are much more solipsistic than we think. Immediately it's self-referential. What did I do wrong? He or she is frowning at me. What happened? What did I do? And then, that's the first thought. Then of course I didn't do anything wrong. He or she, this friend, is mad. And what are they mad at me? Of course. Mad at me. And this person is mad at me, and this person is therefore, and this is causing a lot of distress, because here I went to see my friend and wanted to have a good time, and I meet this frowning, mad friend, and immediately all the thoughts start to build a home, They put the doors, the windows, the ceiling, the floor, and they have chosen the interior decor, this beige color paint with some bright shades, and certain walls, this color they have already chosen. And how many stories the structure will be, And then the home inspection is also over. And one moves into this thought mansion of subjective interpretations of what? One frown. Just a single frown. Single frown. And then what happens? Then of course someone has to come into the picture. We need a mediator here, and we need somebody to, reveal what has exactly happened. So maybe the friend itself, maybe this third person comes, makes the friend talk, makes you talk, in which it is revealed that the cause of the frowning by the friend had an entirely different reason than you coming into the room. And then what happened? The mental mansion has to be now dismantled, correct? This mansion is made of strong stuff. Yes, because this mansion, the material, the raw material for this subjective mansion, this mansion of subjectivity, the raw material is excavated. This is the antique home worth thousands of thoughts. It's an antique home. Made of teak, antique. And so this antique home is excavated. All the raw materials are priceless raw materials, excavated. From what? From the old memories. One was a child, mother frowned, father frowned. You don't even remember when the first frown, memory of the first frown, nobody remembers. But it's a pricelessly stored raw material which is excavated for making the load-bearing walls of this mental thought mansion of subjectivity. Just a single frown. I think I told you that, I had the dubious distinction of helping a couple to not separate. And they just said they couldn't stand each other and they were going to leave. So I said, why? And she said, whenever he sees me, he makes a face. I said, why? Why do you make a face? He says, I never made a face. It's in her imagination, I never made a face. And then he made a face. Thank God it happened in front of me. And she said, there, see, he's making a face. And then it turned out that they had just moved to a new place and he had terrible allergies and he didn't know when the sneeze was coming. So he was keeping on waiting for that sneeze to come. So it's like that. The thought mansion is active. The thought life is active. And thoughts are active. Even before I know I have a thought, even before that thought, that I have a thought, thoughts are already completely proliferated. And this is just one small example. Like this, we have many, many, many thought mansions. Some are occupied, some are vacant, and in some of them I just have a timeshare to go when that particular subjective issue hits. I go there and stay. Where all the blinds are drawn, gloomy, sit and cry. So, in the head, there are multiple thought mansions. And then as soon as I dismantle one, because I understand, this is foolish, what am I doing to myself, what am I doing to all my loved ones, why am I doing this? As soon as I send what are they called, that ball, what is that called, that ball on the chain? Wrecking ball. I sent, the team of Rudras, things that resolve. I send them to this particular series of well-entrenched thoughts which is made into a mansion to wreck it and dismantle it. And then what? The pieces of that, dismantling fly and then become the raw materials for a new one ready to be built. This is called the human life, my friends. And if you are a Hindu, we will say this also happens life after life after life. There is this burden of subjectivity that I carry. Why? Because I don't know. That's what. Why is there subjectivity? Because there is no objectivity. Because I don't know the truth. I don't understand the truth. So that truth, if I have not understood, it is overlaid with a series of my own perceptions. This is what the problem is. Sthanureva Purushaha. There is a very interesting statement. And this we have discussed on many occasions. This woman moves into a new neighborhood, is unpacking the whole day, chances to look out of the window, there's a man. 2 o'clock she sees there's a man outside, shady fellow, in the woods. And then what? 4 o'clock she looks out, still he's standing there. 6 o'clock she looks out, it's starting to get dark, he's still standing there. She says, this new neighborhood is not at all safe. Oh my God, what to do? Finally, she calls the police. When it's 7 o'clock and dark, she calls the police. The police come and shine the flashlight on the man. And who does this man turn out to be? A stump of a tree in the shape of a scary looking fellow. And then when the flashlight is shown on this man, the man is dismantled and then in his stead, what is there? Vrikshaha. Not even vrikshaha. Sthanuhu. Sthanuhu means a stump of a dead tree, lightning struck it or something happened. Or it came down parts of it came down in a hurricane and it's just standing there. Another piece of it. Or it got burnt down in the lightning, something. Now the question is, where did the man go? Where did he go? And what is the answer? If you are a Vedantin, this is the answer. The man went to the same place where the snake went. When the snake was revealed to be what? Rope. Yeah. So the man and the snake went to the same place, became friends. What do you mean, where did he go? Was he there to begin with? No. So the question of where did he go only arises if he was really there. Correct? No, but he was really there because she kept looking out of the curtains and getting scared. Where was this man located? Where? Yeah, in between the temples. In the thought mansion of her own life, thought life. And so this is what, the thought mansion, the production of this subjectivity. Subjectivity is the cause of sorrow, but especially if it is let loose and it is made into a builder, becomes a real problem. And so this subjectivity, when it is let loose to keep on building, builds towers of tears and fears. That's all it knows how to do. sad mansions. Like I told you, everything, all the blinds are drawn and it's permanently, there's a rain cloud on top of it and it's raining. Sad mansion or haunted houses. That's all it builds. You go inside and something catches. You go inside and you're afraid. And you go inside and then there are all these whoo noises. Haunted house. I have never understood why people pay to go into those things and get scared. Even near our Sailorsburg ashram, there is one old kind of a condemned motel. It's condemned on 364 days a year, but on the 365th day, on Halloween and maybe just 2-3 days before that, it becomes alive. And they put all these ghosts coming and catching. I'm imagining, I've never gone there. I've only, when you take the highway, when you take the exit and then you turn over there, that's why I have seen that. Haunted house motel. And people stand in a line, pay money in order to get scared. I've never understood, because life itself is so scary because the subjective perceptions very effectively keep building a series of haunted houses and sad leaky mansions. This is what the whole problem is. This is the problem with what? This is the problem with life. This is the problem with subjectivity. And this is why the Upanishad is needed. And now we get a clue. What does it visharati? What does it avasadayati? What does it clear up? It clears up the subjective mansions, the thought worlds all come down like a domino effect. One comes down, the other comes down, the third comes down, the fourth, and very soon it's just, no more subjectivity, no more fears, no more useless projections based on these raw materials. And the raw materials we will look into, unpack a little more later. No more raw materials means what? No more new construction based on the old raw materials, correct? Yesterday I told you, old wine in new bottles. How do you spell wine? W-H-I-N-E. Okay? That's what it is. So no more raw material, no more new constructions, new projections, and no more fears, no more sorrow. And so therefore the third meaning of the word Shad is what? Gamayati, takes you by the hand. Where? Back to yourself. Brahma Gamayati. The word for self is Brahma, Brahman. Brahma Gamayati. Why Brahman? The root word Brih means vast, limitless. And that is you. You are free, you are whole, you are limitless. And if I am not able to see that, that means there is something obstructing my view, and that has to do with the subjective mansions of fear and despair, which have to be brought down by that which is the agent, which is called Upanishad. Upa means by taking you to that which is the closest to yourself, definitely brings down these mansions of subjectivity. Very beautiful. So really speaking, it is Upanishad because it makes you shed the subjectivity. So the word Upanishad has a sense of an agent. It has a suffix, a silent suffix. What is that? Quip. Quip is not Q-U-I-P, but Sanskrit, quip pratyayanta. This is, it does something to the word which makes it an agent that destroys all subjectivity. This is what is the thing. You don't see it, but it has that effect. Like even, thinker, correct? Hearer, what do we have here? ER, which is the agent noun. But take the word cook. Cooker? No. Only cook. What happened to ER? It is there, but it is not there. But then why is it called quip? Because it equips the word to be an agent. That's why. That's why it is called quip. Okay? So that much Sanskrit is enough. Back here to the mansions of subjectivity. So the mansions of subjectivity, when I live in them, I go mad. Why? Because as soon as I walk in the front door, it has got a combination lock for which I have forgotten the number. I'm locked in. First I want to go in. First I open the door. Let me in, let me in, let me in. And I go in. And then slam. You. Now what? Let me out. Windows also don't open. When some haunted noises are coming. Pitch dark. It may be. Or it may be bright lights and I feel like I'm being interrogated. Help! The self-locking mechanism, it locks. Then with great difficulty I come out, Bhagavan, I pray, take me out of this. What has happened? Where am I? Who am I? All these things. And then suddenly the door opens, I go out for a little airing. And then what? Then one more subjective perception hits and into another mansion I go. This is what it is. So this thought life is creating these mansions. And the raw materials, one very potent raw material, the antique look, what was that? Old memories, correct? That form the load-bearing walls, the banisters, everything. Old, die-hard memories. And then what else are the bricks for these mansions? What else may form the raw materials? Imagine with me.
Mortar of raga.
Ah, yeah. Mortar of raga, bricks of dvesha. Yeah. All kinds of raga dvesha means all kinds of intractable and binding, desires. All kinds of fears, desires. Desires come from fears. All these longings come from fears. And the fears come from a sense of incompleteness, and incompleteness comes from self-ignorance. Ultimately it is self-ignorance. I don't know I, therefore I come into a lot of varied conclusions about the I. I don't know the truth of myself. I don't know that I am Brahman, limitless, free, whole, non-longing, non-wanting, full, and without needing to have this subjective, getting into these subjective mansions of tears and fears where I feel locked inside. So therefore there are two very drastic, different understandings of the I. That which is given by the Upanishad and that which is given by me. Which do I trust? How can I trust the Upanishad? Until yesterday I had not even heard of it. So many Upanishads, this one and that one, and every which one. Why should I trust the Upanishad? Okay, don't trust the Upanishad. You can keep on trusting your own perception. No, that also I don't like. Okay, trust the Upanishad. No, I can't trust the Upanishad. You see what is happening over here? Is that one more mansion is being built in this argument. So we already had mansion of despair, mansion of fear, terror, and this one is a mansion of ashraddha, distrust. Again the raw materials, lots of raw materials for this one. Lots and lots of them. Yeah. And I was with one Ayurvedic doctor, and he was examining one patient, and he touched the pulse. That's all it takes. And he said, "Were you dropped when you were a child?" And this grown man burst into tears, because it's such a potent and a horrible thing that has happened. For a child to be dropped, the poor mother, what could she do? It was an accident. Okay, it was from the stairs, but okay, the baby was only 3.5 months old. Okay, it was from a flight of stairs. What could she do? It was not her fault. It was an accident. No mother says, now let's see how to drop this baby. No mother says that. She didn't want to drop the child. She must have tripped over something and lost control, lost balance, and she herself fell, and the baby also fell a little further down. That's all, And such a potent thing. And then the doctor said to him, the Ayurvedic doctor, just from seeing the pulse, "Were you dropped as a child?" He immediately burst into tears. Because he didn't remember, but he was told, He was told by the parents that he had been dropped. And, and any time, anything happened, they would all say, "Oh, it was because you were dropped when you were 4 months old or when you were 3 months old." Like this, it became a refrain in his life. And also all the health problems, whatever the health problems were there, because you were dropped when you were a baby. This became like a, chorus. Every song has a chorus, and this "because you were dropped" became a chorus, and so therefore he was very sensitive to it. And so when the Ayurvedic doctor, who didn't know him, perfect stranger, takes his pulse and says, "Were you dropped?" He couldn't handle it. He just, poor fellow, he just burst into tears. And then he said, "Yes, when I was 3.5 months old." And then he asked the doctor, "Are all my health problems because of that?" He says, "No." The doctor surprised him and said, "No, but you are not getting well because you distrust. Your health problem is not because you were dropped as a child. Your distrust in all these remedies, because the remedies, because he said, "I have tried this, that, and nothing is working." I forgot what the problem was, it's not important. So nothing is working because you are not being part of your own healing process by allowing the medicines to do their job. There is a resistance to the medicine being mounted. Why? Because what if the medicine also drops me? Because I was already dropped once. This is what the whole thing is. And so this is what that repeated, that kind of a distrust. And even though it was extreme in this story, in his case, everybody has it. And to a certain extent it is a protection. That's what we tell children. Don't go with strangers. You have to tell the child. We live in a sad world. We have to teach distrust. Don't go with strangers, especially if they give candy. Don't go with them. Like this you have to tell. And To a certain extent, like I said, we teach distrust. And I suppose, it is to a certain extent healthy in its own convoluted way, because we have some, some need for it in the contemporary world. In order to survive, one needs to be vigilant, and one cannot just be gullible and, trust everything. But then it is also a big bane, because it becomes an autoimmune condition. Nowadays there are all these diseases for which there is no cause, no cure. Autoimmune, meaning that certain parts of the body attack each other. The body starts to attack itself. The immune system attacks itself. So all the healthy things it attacks. So there is a range of diseases like that. And so here too, this is something we have to see, that the condition of the human being, psychosomatically speaking, is like one suffering from an autoimmune condition. That is what it is. In other words, it is self-sabotage. That there is a remedy being presented, a remedy, in the form of the Upanishad. There may be many other remedies, but this is one that is being presented at hand right now. In fact, it is streaming live in my own room in the form of a solution. And it looks to be better than those mansions of what? Doubt and despair that I have going on in the head, which is making me go round and round in circles. And I said, like I said, if you are familiar with the Hindu religion, life after life as well. So then, what kind of an option is this? Is this even an option? Do you want to keep on being locked in this mansion, one mansion after another, each one more horrifying than the first? Or will you just give your hand to that which is offering you a hand and promises to eliminate this subjectivity, promises to eliminate these mansions of fear and despair? And then what? Promises to repatriate you back to yourself. A self that is not wholly unfamiliar, because you meet and greet this self regularly at night, when in nidravastha, in sleep. That's why nobody wants to wake up, because it is so wonderful. That's why everybody wants to continue sleeping, and accept that one cannot continue to be sleeping. Even in the waking state, I have to see that I am free of all those ills, all those subjective fears, sorrows, wrong perceptions, misunderstanding, mistakes, everything upon myself, upon the world. I have to be able to see this. And so here is a remedy that is being offered, compared to what I already have, which is a series of misperceptions. So do I take it or not? That is the question. But then why should I take this remedy that you are offering? You said the problem is with the thoughts, correct? Why not we stop thinking? That seems like a simpler remedy. Here 1 month sitting and listening to you in front of the computer. Why should I do that? Stop thinking, simple. Yogaschitta vritti nirodha. The second sutra of yoga system of philosophy, Yoga Sutras. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras gives the definition of yoga. What is yoga? And if you don't translate it according to context, and if you're not a careful translator, if you just have a smattering of Sanskrit, that sutra is translated as, very superficial translation, yoga means stop thinking. To stop thinking means yoga. Chitta means mind, correct? Emotions. Vritti means the movement of the mind, the thoughts. Nirodha, the stoppage. The stoppage of thoughts is equal to yoga. See, I even have some kind of a sanction. I can quote and say, instead of sitting and listening to you for a whole month, why don't I stop talking? Stop thinking. Much easier to stop thinking, correct? Pujya Swamiji would always give a beautiful story to illustrate this. He would say that this man went to the doctor having lot of migraines, chronic migraines. And he said, "Doctor, I have chronic migraines. I wish they were your grains, but they happen to be my grains. Please do something. Help me." And the doctor said, "Don't worry. I'm changing into my gown, operating gown." And he changed and put his, cap and gown and gloves. "What's happening, doctor? Please come into the next room. I've scheduled you for an emergency operation." Operation for migraine? Yes. It's a permanent solution. Remove the head, no more headaches. Headache, the cause of headache is what? That you have a head is enough, correct? Remove the head, no more headaches. That is exactly like saying, stop thinking. No more thoughts. No more thoughts, no more vrittis, no more vritti-based mansions. And no more vritti-based mansions. And no more needing demolitions. And no need to dismantle, no need to demolish, and no need to have tears and fears, towers of tears and fears. Why? And no need to be trapped, because there is no raw material, no thoughts. Free. It's not possible. But what about Samadhi? In Samadhi there are no thoughts. Yes, for how long? Till the thought comes, guess what, I'm in Samadhi. That is the last moment, Charamakshana of the Samadhi. Oh, this is such a good Samadhi. That's all it takes. Yeah, Samadhi is like Roundup. It's a temporary solution. Somebody asked Pujya Swamiji once, what is the difference between deep sleep and Samadhi? And he was just so ingenious. The thoughts the right things would strike him. In a satsang this was asked. And I was also thinking, what is the difference? How to tell this? And he immediately said, in one there is snoring, in the other there is no snoring. In Samadhi, no snoring. In sleep there may be snoring. This is what the whole thing is. Samadhi, yes, Chitta Vritti Nirodha is there. And the experience of the Samadhi is supposed to give a little space from the feeling locked up, to negate the perception that you are locked up in these mansions. It gives Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Naishchalyam, the staying power, so that you are not completely inundated by that. It gives enough space to assimilate the teachings. That is what it is. So the non-thinking is not a solution. Even though sometimes, one wants to not think at all. Seems to be wonderful to not think. But it's not a possibility. It's not a solution. Even if you start saying, I don't want to have thoughts, I don't want to have thoughts, I'm going to not have thoughts, I'm going to not have thoughts, you're stuck with the thought of not going to have thoughts. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So the samadhi is like a temporary solution. May as well go to sleep, that's also another temporary solution. But here we are looking for something more than that. We are looking for something that is permanent. You may be looking for something permanent. I'm fine with this temporary, and also just because you say it is permanent, how come it is permanent? Why should it be permanent? In fact, I enjoy my subjectivity. You enjoy your subjectivity? Yes. I have a good time sometimes. That's the whole operative word, is sometimes. Because this is what somebody asked, Swami Vidyaranya of Panchadashi fame that we saw yesterday. What is wrong with daydreaming and have building castles in the mind, in the air? Pleasant dreams, pleasant mansions. Because the mansions, just because you paint the mansions as unpleasant, they don't all have to be unpleasant. In one scenario, I could win the lottery, I could become rich, I could be dispensing bills on the roadside, I could just be so happy, so wonderful. This is all during the day. I could just sit and, think about these things. And what is your problem? These are my thought materials. I am going into a little pleasant trip. Because I can't afford a holiday, I'm going on a mental holiday. And what is your problem? Why do you want me to give some other solution, study the Upanishad, do this, do that, and just because it is there and all these things? And Swami Vidyaranya calls this manorajya, daydreaming. And Swami Vidyaranya cautions. Why? Because those mansions are also built of the same materials, longings, old perceptions, mistrust, distrust and fears. And so what is a pleasant trip doesn't take too long to become an unpleasant trip. This is why one needs something other than just to stop thinking or to just change the unpleasant thoughts to pleasant thoughts. And so therefore the Upanishad speaks to those who want to take a look at these mansions and to want to allow them to be demolished enough to be able to see what this self really is. Because it's not a self with which I'm wholly unfamiliar. It's a self that is partially familiar. Because if I really didn't know who I was, then I would not bother making all these subjective, things. Because you cannot have wrong perceptions about a thing totally unknown. Think about it. You can't have misperceptions. You can't have any perceptions about something that is not known at all. And again, you cannot have misperceptions about something that is fully known. If the stump of the tree was known to be the stump of the tree, then it would not have stumped the woman into thinking that it was a man. Correct? So do you see where this perception, the subjective perception is a very pathetic fellow, because it has just a very small area where it can operate and shine and, take a bow. When something is totally known, it has no place there. It hangs its head in shame and goes away. And when something is totally unknown, it cannot cast its shadow where something is unknown. So where does the I come under which category? It's not totally unknown. Because are you here? What will you say? Oh, how do you know? If I say, are you here? You said yes. No, I have Shraddha, I exist. I have faith, I exist. I am a believer. In what? In my own existence. Who talks like that? You don't say, I am a believer in my own existence. I exist, I know. And then what? So you cannot say that self is unknown. Neither can you say the self is known. Because if the self were known, then, there would not be these mansions that I myself want to demolish. It's a concrete jungle of what? Of all things that are not concrete. Concretized jungle of relentless subjectivity, longings, fears and tears, which this Upanishad is all set to demolish. So what other choice do we have? So the self is partially known. I know I am. That I am, I know. Therefore, if you ask, are you here? Yes, I will say yes. But do not ask the next question. What is the next question? Who are you? What are you? Because then I will say, how much time do you have? How much time do you have? I was on a Greyhound bus. Greyhound? Yeah. Greyhound bus going from here to California. I had to do some ritual for somebody. I was going there and somebody was sitting next to me, and the person said to me, I'm having a bad day. I said, oh really? Tell me about it. How much time you got? How much time you got to listen to me? I said, well, we are 1 hour into the journey and California is 3 hours away, so you can have 3 hours. Oh really? 3 hours? But the truth is, even after when it was time to get off, he was not finished. Yeah. He was not finished. He wanted to follow me. The host came to the station to pick me up, and he wanted to follow me right to the place where we were going to do the ritual. And I didn't mind, but the host took one look at him and said, no, you are not coming. And so very dejectedly he went away. But that's all our condition. So much sorrow, so much pain, so much fear, and so many misconceptions about the I. And therefore, this is anivarya. Anivarya means what? This is compulsory. We better give this Upanishad a chance, a little room to breathe. When? Early morning, our time, tomorrow, and whatever time zone you are on, in 12 hours, we'll be studying this again. We'll delve into this a little more. Okay? So I will say the closing prayer, and then it will be time for meditation. Correct? Today we have meditation. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. How are you, Noora? Good.